Howdy out there, folks. Welcome in to Wish We Were Then. Welcome inside. The podcast is a building that you get inside and then you hear us talking. We all sit around the proverbial fire, the digital fire. Digital, that's important for this week, I think. A lot of digital stuff going on out there in the year we're going to talk about. This is Wish We Were Then, the show that's been doomed to repeat history so that you can learn from it. Meaning, me, I'm Trey. I go back in time with my friend here, Mark. How you doing this week, my friend?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you doing out there in the proverbial plane?
We go back in time. We talk about the year that we visited. Every year, it's a complete surprise to us what year we end up in. And this was a good one. This is a unique one. It's a funny. I think actually this is like a very interesting year for us and like how old we were and stuff at the time, because some of these years we go back to like we're adults. Some of them they're from when we were kids, and then a lot from before we were a twinkle in our parents' eyes. But this, it's like being pretty older teenagers, like we were fully immersed in the culture that was going on and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, probably not us as much.
No, but we're the age that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the music, the top 5 and stuff. As much as I didn't listen to it, I know every single one of these songs.
Yeah. The movies too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff that I was just like, oh, I recognize this and this and this. And I remember the feeling of these things being current, seeing the trailers and stuff like that and hearing the ads on the radio and things,
Yep.
Well, let's see what year we're talking about. Thankfully, we have a little bit of some historical footage that we can roll that'll help set the stage here. So let's go ahead and press play on that. My fellow Americans, it is I, your newly inaugurated 44th President, Barack Hussein Obamacare. I wish I could be coming to you tonight under happier circumstances. I wish I could be bringing you tidings of comfort and joy. But unfortunately, it appears I've inherited the presidency during some uncertain times. Our nation is being beset on all sides by tragedy. There are reports of young children being abducted by flying saucers. Tigers are mating with cougars at an alarming rate. And it's come to my attention that our nation's government is working hand in hand with a team of giant robot creatures from outer space, covertly, unbeknownst to the American public. These are just some of the things I seek to rectify during my time as president. But I'm going to need your help. I need every American to grab the hand of the person next to him. Think about happier times and wish we were then. Because tonight, live from New York, it's 2009.
Yuck.
Woo! That's right. We're going back to 2009. Historic year.
A lot of stuff. Like I said, just totally like, oh, I remember that happening. And then it just happened over and over again. So let's start at the beginning of the year. It's pretty close to the beginning of the year. January 15th, the U.S. Airways flight 1549 made an emergency landing in the Hudson River in New York. Only 2 minutes after takeoff from LaGuardia Airport in New York, the airplane flew into a flock of geese, and it damaged both of their engines, causing them to lose thrust, and they tried to repeatedly turn the engines back over, never turned on. The pilot, Chelsea Sully Sullenberger III, which is an awesome name, was forced to make a crash landing. He brought the plane down successfully. All 150 passengers and 5 crew members were all rescued, but 5 people were seriously injured and no fatalities. It became known as the Miracle in the Hudson.
Yeah, Chesley Sully Sullenberger, the third, though. That's funny. I didn't realize that was the third. It's a name so good, you just got to keep using it, I guess. It's funny, his nickname is Sully, because, like, I'm the third as well. I go by Trey, but what if I just start going by Sully? Did you ever see the movie? There's a movie directed by Clint Eastwood that came out in 2016. starring Tom Hanks.
But when I was looking this up, that's like what kept coming up over and over again. No, I've never seen it before.
No, I haven't either. It's like where he's flying. He says, "Look at me, I am the goose now," and then he lands in the water because geese land in the water. Just kidding. That's the other hit Tom Hanks movie from this year. Yeah, I mean, it was a big deal. It was something people talked about quite a bit. This was something I noticed during the research was like a lot of news stories this year, just like stuff that you would hear. Like the news cycle was so big at this time. Like, you know, people still watch TV. Everything wasn't online, but you had the speed of online, you know, of quick, rapid fire reporting and stuff like that. So
Yes.
everybody just knew all these cool stories that were going on during the year because this was a huge thing that everybody was well aware of. This guy who like just hit some geese and had to land the plane. And it's cool that nobody died or anything, but like I find that interesting that a story in which somebody just landed a plane after hitting some geese is like world news. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it was more like he landed in the Hudson River, like in the water.
Yeah, it's a dirty river.
I think that's the crazy part. I mean, I know they have like safety things, automatic like flotation devices,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but still a pretty cool thing to be able to do.
And Tommy Boy when they're doing the like safety thing when they all have on, you know, the flight attendant uniforms, David Spade and Chris Farley. And he's like he's doing the flotation device thing and he's like, what are the odds we're gonna crash into a lake? If I had to bet, I'd say it's gonna be a mountain. You know, like, well, those people actually did land in the river. So I wonder how often you do crash land in water. It's probably pretty rare.
I mean, I don't know, people flying over a lot of oceans.
Yeah, but how often do they crash? The other thing, though, I was going to ask you about this is, did you see the Nathan Fielder show, The Rehearsal? That's on HBO. No. The first season is a bunch of different things. The second season's all kind of thematically tied to this miracle on the Hudson. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a fantastic piece of art this season of television, and you have to watch the whole thing front to back. I mean, the first season's really good, but you don't have to watch it to get the second one. But I highly recommend watching the second season of The Rehearsal, and it you learn a lot about Chesley Sully Sullenberger's life.
Oh, okay.
So it's really good though. Check it out. All right, let's see. The very next day, on the 16th of January, Circuit City announced that it'd be closing all 567 locations and terminate around 34,000 jobs. So Circuit City, I mean, that was something we grew up with knowing about and stuff. I don't know how often you frequented the store. It's not really I kind of feel like it was somewhere I liked the name and the idea of, and then anytime I'd go in there, I'd be like, this place is boring, you know?
I don't know. I feel like the only time I wanted to go there was when they were going out of business. It was like,
yeah, you could buy everything. Yeah. So it's kind of one of those things that I was like, oh no.
Anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't. I was like, oh no, Circuit City's going out of business. Oh, I don't really care. It's not something that's ever affected my life up until this point. I'm just sad to see it going, you know?
Yeah.
Their final day of operations was March 8th. They closed more than any other chain that year, other than retail auto dealerships, because this was when the economy was really hurting and everybody was shuttering businesses left and right. A lot of the auto industry was particularly in dire straits, but retail stores, Circuit City was the most closed location. They got bought out and turned into like a web-only location, like shortly after this happened, and they only lasted until 2012. Then that
so they weren't like completely dissolved, I guess.
No, but when in 2012 when they closed the website, that ended anybody using the name Circuit City after 63 years of it being the name of a business. So they were completely done. And then in 2018, they reopened the website and announced that they'd be selling retail stuff. But as far as I know, it's not like back up, or it might have closed again. I don't know. But they've never come back in full force. So essentially, Circuit City still, once the store closed, it all but vanished from reality.
From reality. Did you look at their website?
No, I didn't. Should we look at it real quick?
Sure.
Let's see what it looks like. Let's see if this is worth doing. I'll do it with everybody at the same time. If I had a nickel for every time I said that. All right, let's see.
I'd have one nickel.
CircuitCity.com. Well, it looks like the old Circuit City, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
This is
pretty much like a regular electronics website.
They're back in full force.
Yeah, it looks good. Good job, Circuit City.
You can't find a location because they're not a location.
Like Squarespace or GoDaddy or something.
All right. Just to wrap up January, I'll say that this was a huge deal. On the 20th, Barack Hussein Obamacare, was sworn in as the 44th president.
Yeah, huge. I mean,
Monumental.
probably you can't put into words on how big that is for our nation.
I thought he was a cool guy. I liked listening to him talk. I liked his voice. I liked doing impressions of him. I don't know if you could
A
tell.
lot of people like doing impressions of him. He was a very impressionable president.
It wasn't just that he impressionable. It wasn't just that he had a fun voice, but it was also just that he talked cool and stuff, that he like.
Yeah, he was
He
a
had
good speaker.
yeah. He had a good swagger about him. So, it was a long time ago, man.
It was a long time ago. It's weird to think about it being feels like it's still a recent event, but it's really not anymore.
No, yeah, he still comes up an awful lot for this being fucking 20 years ago almost now. Damn,
I was like, yeah, there's people who can like vote who now
That
weren't
were-
even around for that.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. Damn.
On March 28th, the H1N1 swine flu virus was reported in San Diego County, and then a second case was reported 2 days later in Imperial County in California. Then on June 11th, the World Health Organization made it an official global pandemic. The number of cases, including asymptomatic people's, was 700 million to 1.4 billion people were infected. And then April 12th, 2009 to April 10th, 2010, the CDC estimated that there were 6.8 million cases and over 1,200 deaths in the United States.
Yeah, I remember this being a big deal. The numbers make it sound like it was a lot more serious than I remembered it being. Like I kind of just remember being a thing like, oh, swine flu, this is going on. But I don't remember
that's
it being.
what I thought COVID was going to be like, because I remember this being a thing, but I never wore a mask, or I never bothered not going places. I just washed my hands and was careful like everyone else is all the time.
Yeah, it was nothing like COVID for younger people out there who weren't aware of what was going on when the swine flu happened. It was nothing like COVID. Yeah, it wasn't this thing where everyone was. I mean, people talked about it. People were like a little nervous about it, but it wasn't something where everyone altered their behavior for the most part. Like you said, maybe you wash your hands more. You're whatever. Stay out of crowds, I guess. But even that, I don't really remember that being a thing where people were like, you can't go to baseball games. You know what I mean?
No, nobody restricted anything at all, ever. Like, it was like, stay home if you're sick and wash your hands. Like, but everybody does that anyway. You're supposed to do that anyway.
Yeah, but do you think people altered their own behavior? There were probably people who were like freaked out about it and decided.
Oh yeah,
the sure elderly, But
yeah, and I'm sure there was just, there's people who are like germaphobes anyway.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So something like that happens, and it probably just could freak them out. But yeah, like you said, the deaths, the numbers make it sound worse than we actually going through it, like
perceived it at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, like I said, a lot more serious in retrospect than it seemed. Weird, because we talked about before how it kind of seemed like, oh well, I guess we just took care of that better than we did with COVID, but it seems like it just was underreported that it was actually killing people as much as it did, or we just don't remember because we were in high school and didn't care.
Yeah.
But it's different than like the bird flu and stuff where we were too young to really remember, oh, I don't know, maybe it was more serious than that. Like, I just don't remember this being something that was, I mean, I was going places and doing things, you know what I mean? I was fully almost out of high school at this point. So
yeah,
I just don't remember that. On October 15th, this was another one of these like news stories that I remember hearing about, just like people talking about as it was happening and stuff like that. Was on October 15th, a homemade helium balloon that was shaped somewhat like a flying saucer. It was silver. It was like a big old like 20-foot balloon that these people made. It was released into the air above Fort Collins, Colorado, by Richard and Mayumi Heen, were the couple's name. They had a couple small children with them. They had a few boys with them when they did this. Apparently, it was like a science experiment, but they claimed that their 6-year-old son, Falcon was his name, crazy name. These people, they're weird people. When I started getting more into it, I just kind of remember the general, outline of the news story. I didn't get that deep into it back then. But their son Falcon, they said, was trapped inside of the balloon. And so the news was alerted. The world was called to action to worry about this boy. He got dubbed the Balloon Boy. Then a couple hours later, the balloon lands. He's not in it. A search is called because they think he might have fallen out during the flight. They go looking for him. And then a couple hours later, he's found in the attic above the garage in the home, in the family home. And so then
they lied about it.
Do you remember this story?
I do. Now that you're talking about it, it's like jogging my memory.
Yeah, the Balloon Boy Hoax was how it's come to be known. It was sort of, it was called into question whether or not they were faking it. They basically he was up in the attic, and their story essentially, I watched like an interview with them on Larry King Live. They were interviewed by Wolf Blitzer, and he's asking them, so what was going on? And the guy, especially Richard Heen, he's very strange. And he was just like, oh yeah, we're doing this experiment to try to come up with a form of transportation that way people don't have to use cars anymore. You could just float up and float to work or whatever. And we're doing this family experiment, and it's supposed to be like have 5 million volts of electricity going through this thing so you can change direction. He just seems super strange. So then while he's talking to him, Wolf is asking the kid, so why were you hiding? And he says because he was going to get in trouble, because like the dad was telling him stop messing with the balloon or something. So the kid ran away and went and hid because he was getting yelled at, is what he said. Then Wolf asked a little later, he said, so did you hear the family calling your name and ask like, where's Falcon? Where's Falcon? Did you hear your mom crying and stuff like that? And the kid said that he did. And they asked, why didn't you come out? And he said, his quote said, you guys said we did it for the show, was what he said on the air. And so they were Wolf kind of pressed him a little bit about it, but he was just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. He just went and hid because he was afraid of getting in trouble. So he kind of dodged the question a little bit. But it turns out this guy, this family actually had been on TV before. I think they did the show Wife Swap. They did some kind of like show where he had been on twice before. And obviously people liked him because he's a freaking weirdo. So they had him come back. And then he was in talks with like like TLC or something to do a new show right now that was going to be like about a documentary show about science investigation and like learning about the mysteries of science and shit like that. So people think he was trying to get his show off the ground. So that's why they did this stunt,
What the heck? It's so like attention seeking. Maybe he just wanted to be back on TV.
Yeah, to make this weird science show. Like, it's a very, very strange guy. If you watch the interviews with him, he's a weird guy. But November 13th, they pleaded guilty to attempting to influence a public servant. That was the actual charge that they pleaded guilty to. I guess because they called the cops and things like that to report this. They actually initially called the FAA, in charge of aircrafts and stuff like that, because they were like, look out, our son's floating away. We don't want him to get hit by an airplane or something like that. Then they called the news. Then they called the cops afterwards. In the interview, the guy was like, why would I call the cops? Like, they deal with the ground stuff. Like, the kid was in the air, so I called the FAA. But
well, that makes sense, but
yeah, I mean, it makes a level of sense. But you still probably want the troops mobilized. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you would still want people looking for him.
So after they pleaded guilty, Richard received 90 days in jail and had to pay a $36,000 fine. Mayumi received 20 days of weekend jail, so that way she could, make sure the kids were taken care of and stuff like that. They have maintained their innocence in the years since, saying that they genuinely believed their son was trapped in the balloon. One of the other boys apparently had said, "Oh, Falcon's in there," or something like that, and then he wasn't nowhere to be seen. So they actually thought he was up there, according to them. They actually did get pardoned by the governor in 2020.
What state?
Colorado.
Okay. I mean, I could see why I don't know. I don't know why you would think that. I'd be like, I don't know what this balloon looks like.
That was my first question.
Carry a child away?
That's what, and there was also funny because Wolf Blitzer, when he asked the question, he was like, you have a background in science. Like, did you think this thing could actually take away the kid? And I thought that was such a funny way to frame it. Like, this weirdo, you're like, you're a scientist yourself, right? According to your calculations. But they actually did do it was a sizable balloon, and they did calculations, and it was like it could have carried like 30 pounds or something like that, probably. And the kid was like 36 pounds. So it was a small kid. And there was enough space in there to actually have a child fit. So
Okay.
Like it
So
might
it's
not
not
have
like
been able
the
to, but it was big enough to assume, oh shit, he might be in there. You know what I mean? It's not like it was a little helium balloon, from the Dollar Tree. A couple Mylar balloons taped to a lawn chair or something like that. That's what I pictured when I heard the story back then. I thought it
That's
was like
crazy.
way simpler of a rig. I didn't realize it was some strange science experiment. This guy was trying to change the world and turn us into the fucking Jetsons. I had
But
no idea.
how fucking like pissed off would you be if you really did think that you lost your kid in that balloon and now you're getting charged by the government for for charges? Like
Yeah.
if he was, I feel like there would have been more of an uproar if he was genuinely not trying to screw people over or not trying to lie about it.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Oh, the
Yeah, I
thing
don't know.
was, they've said they felt pressured to admit to this because of the fact that Mayumi was not an American citizen. She's from Japan. So they thought they've said that they were kind of felt forced to go along with what the government was telling them to say. So
Who knows?
that's at least
Who
their
knows?
defense
That's
for it.
crazy.
There are some freaking strange people. The whole thing is so weird that it's kind of like it's not obviously one thing or the other. It does seem like I could 100% buy that this dude did this to sell his little weird show. But also, he's just such a weird guy. I think he probably did make a balloon just for a family experiment and then it floated away and they all went, Falcon's missing. Where's Falcon? Call the FAA. Strange people. But this was another one of those stories. Like I said, the rapidity of news at this point in time that the world knew about a boy that was in the air for like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like, there's a boy in the air. Tell everybody. And then everybody knew about it. Like, did you hear about the boy? He's up there. Fuck. Well, keep refreshing the page. And then an hour later, it's like, the balloon landed. Where is he? People were following this as it was happening.
Man, that's crazy.
All right. Done with news?
Yeah, let's move on to
Food. This was an interesting little food story here that McCafe at McDonald's, like their, coffee drinks and stuff like that. It started in the U.S. for the first time in 2009. I would have thought it was around longer than that, but, sure,
Sounds
why not?
about right. I think but I remember when it happened, just thinking like, so you guys just call your coffee stuff that you make now a McCafe because they had coffee before.
Right. Yeah, and I guess it was like, what did you guys start making different things, or what was the significance of this branding? Was always my question as well. But this is what led me down a path of digging and finding out information about McCafe. Is that it actually started in Australia in 1993 and was its own separate entity. It was not McDonald's coffee. It was a McDonald's coffee shop. You would go to a McCafe. And as far as I know, that's how it still is in Australia. They're their own business. It's like a
That's
Starbucks,
cool.
but McDonald's style.
I've heard of them trying to do that here nowadays. I mean,
The first
in more
one,
recent times, I should say.
the first one in the U.S. was in Chicago in the year 2003. That was a standalone McCafe business.
Okay.
But in the year 2009, they just kind of got folded over into being at every McDonald's. The coffee selections are called McCafe. So I actually don't know if there are any standalone locations left in the U.S. But if you go to Australia, you might just find a McDonald's coffee shop.
I think I saw a concept thing for McDonald's to try to do like a drink place, kind of like Dutch Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure it's just piggybacking on this.
Yeah. That's funny that they didn't try it on a bigger scale here in the U.S. back then.
Yeah.
Especially because it felt like, they're just kind of trying to. Starbucks just keeps getting more and more popular, so they're trying to capitalize on that. So why wouldn't you just go for it and make your own small versions? I could totally see a world where there's a tiny little McDonald's coffee shop on every corner.
Yeah, for sure. Instead of Starbucks or in competing with Starbucks.
Yeah, you could just make them like Redbox sized, and there'd just be like one person inside of it, outside of Walgreens and stuff like that. You could totally have it be like a tiny little coffee shop, or the ones that they have Starbucks inside of Albertsons and all sorts of places. So you could have just McDonald's coffee shops inside of places. They missed out. At Domino's, there were a couple of pretty cool debuts this year. They had bread bowl pastas, which, as far as I can tell, was the first time Domino's had any sort of pasta available, because they still have pasta on the menu. I don't know if they have bread bowls any longer, but
I don't think so.
the bread bowl pasta was all one thing. So they just did away with the bread. Said, here's the pasta, which their pastas are decent. You know,
Yeah, not
they're
bad.
not bad. Like if you're not in the mood for pizza or whatever, they're decent pasta. They also had the American Legends pizzas, which I remember like the commercials for these vaguely, but they were just like different themes of pizza, kind of just different types, but they were all, the states. And they're modeled after the legendary states of this union, like the Honolulu Hawaiian, Cali Chicken Bacon Ranch, Pacific Veggie, Memphis Barbecue Chicken, Buffalo Chicken, and Philly Cheesesteak. So kind of just normal pizzas, but they were like, we're going to say they're for the states, and for some reason that was like their marketing thing. I just vaguely remembered that happening. The big thing though that Domino's did this year was the lava crunch cake. Those are bomb. The little chocolate
Mm-hmm.
thing, and cut them open and then goo spills out. Oh, delicious.
Like the molten lava cakes. Oh,
Yeah,
fire.
those are great, dude. In another chocolate related news, Hershey's came out with a thingamajig, which was basically a chocolate version of a whatchamacallit. So that'll clear that up
Okay.
for you if you know what that's. It's funny if you don't know what that is, and you're just like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? It was like Cocoa Crisps, like rice crisp things. It was chocolate flavored with peanut butter on top in a, wrapped in chocolate, like a chocolate bar of that. Sounds really good, but they discontinued them.
Does sound good.
The thingamajig.
No, I don't think I ever had one.
Neither did I. The whatchamacallit was a candy bar that was sort of unknown to me. It's weird how there's just some candies that like they exist. They're not always around though. Like you don't see that at every supermarket. So if you don't like them, you have no reason to ever have one,
Or you're like intrigued. You're like, what's a Macallit?
Yeah, I think my mom used to like them, but just one of those ones I never really had. Like 100 grand bar is one of those types that's like you don't see them all the time, but I love those. And anytime I see one, I'll be like, "Hey, sick, 100 grand bar."
Yeah.
But if you don't like them already or have tried, you have no reason to even look at them. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is a 100 grand bar?
When you get the fun size packages.
Yeah, there's like a
Those are always
random
in
one in
there.
there. Yeah, like a Heath bar. All right, that's all I got for food and things like that.
Yeah, it's all my food stuff. I'm going to move on to technologies.
Yes, sir.
All right. On January 3rd, Bitcoin was established.
Mm-hmm.
Satoshi Nakamoto was the first person to mine a Bitcoin, quote unquote, mine it. He got 50 Bitcoin and he got them 6 days before it launched. Would launch the software, and they wouldn't even reach 1/20th of a penny until October.
Oh, damn. So it was not profitable. I thought he was like, I did it, and everyone's like, woo. I really don't get Bitcoin. And so I have it written down as Bitcoin first used as a cryptocurrency when its creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, mined the starting block of the chain. This was the first decentralized crypto. That's all I had because I was like, you know what? That's it. I don't need to look anymore into it because I can't. I started to try to figure out more shit and I was like, fuck it. I can't. I don't know. I don't have time to learn about crypto right now.
It is, complicated, but when it happened, I don't remember this. I think I remember hearing about it when we were later, like 2012, 2011, closer to us graduating, maybe after. But I was like, money is already not worth anything now. Like it's valuable because we add value to it. Mm-hmm. Why would I take that money and then also give it to something that doesn't have any value? But we haven't decided to give it value yet. But that was my thinking at the time.
Well, I mean, I get the idea of like a currency. I don't understand the mining it and like where is it coming from? Like, how are you creating currency?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what the currency is. At least money, I know what it is.
Yeah,
dollars. It has like,
but or even way, gold. Like stuff.
Our money's not backed by gold.
But just in general, like I get the dollars represent time and services and whatever. Gold is shiny and you can give this to somebody and say, hey, it's worth this much money. I don't understand what you're like creating with mine. Like, what is the mining doing? What is it create? What is happening?
I don't I don't really know either.
what's coming off of the mining that they're like grabbing and pulling together and going, look, a Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. What are we buying? What are we assigning value to? I don't know. But like I said,
don't know.
I didn't want to get that far into it. But for people who like Bitcoin, hey, look, historic, January 3rd of 2009. There you go. Happy birthday.
For people in the little older sentiments, after 74 years, Kodak would stop selling 35 millimeter colored film.
So like the one that goes into like the regular cameras that you would do.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
would bring it back later. I don't remember what year. I didn't write it down, but just for like nostalgic reasons, people
Yeah.
are getting back into film.
Yeah, it's sad. I kind of remember when this stuff started going out, and like the same thing with like the Polaroid cameras and things. And there's always just a random like retro, invention comes out. Oh, this is like an old school camera. Like this uses old film, but it never fully came back. It just went away. And I was like, oh man, I think this is gonna go away. But there's no way it's actually gonna stop being a thing. But then it did. I miss going and getting pictures developed.
Yeah, I mean, you still can, but I remember, yeah, it would just being so much more prominent, or like when people would have cameras like at parties, or like it was like a thing. Like, oh my gosh, they have a video camera.
Well, like at weddings, you would get the little disposable camera as a gift, and then
Yeah,
everyone would
yeah,
have pictures of the wedding and stuff. But it was just so common to be like going to Target with somebody and they go, "Oh, I got a roll of film. I got to get developed." Like that was just a part of life. Everyone
yeah.
just had, you just had to do that sometimes. You just had to get your film developed because that's how pictures lived, you know. And pictures were more important and they were cooler and like they just looked more interesting. Like picking up a picture and it could just be like a kid, just standing in front, like in the living room, all shittily lit and stuff like that. But you're like, what a nice picture, you know what I mean? Like it just mattered more than on your phone.
Yeah, it's true. Well, again, adding the value to like something that's physical.
Yeah. Moving on, in January, the first ever extinct animal was recreated through cloning. Successfully, kind of. Not really super successfully. As far as I can tell, this is the only time it's been done. It was a Pyrenean ibex. It's like kind of, they're sort of like antelope sort of looking deals, got longer horns. It was born alive, but then died 17 minutes later. So,
They've recreated animals at this point,
that have been
not up
extinct.
until 2009.
I don't know about extinct ones that they've like
Yeah,
brought
it's
back from the extinction.
the dire wolf.
The dire wolf, and that's like around, and they've done it.
Yes, look it up right now. It's
Okay.
crazy. There's like 3 of them actually.
Well, this happened celebrate first birthday. This happened in 2024.
They're like on a protected reserve at like a undisclosed location, so nobody can go and like try to find them.
Huh. So I guess other than this, well, this ibex still does hold this distinction of being the only
But yeah,
species
it
to
had
ever go
stars.
extinct twice because it was born and then died 17 minutes later. So then they never brought it back. So this was it. They just went extinct again. So
They did just for 17 minutes.
yeah. So
Dang, that's crazy. Hey, but it got to start somewhere.
yeah. I didn't
You know
realize
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah, everything that I was looking up, this was the only because I figured that it would have happened again. It's crazy that this didn't happen again until 2024. So it took that long for them to bring back another species.
Yeah, but now they want to do it with woolly mammoths. Is the next one they want to do.
Yeah, I saw that was the same company that did the dire wolves that they're trying to do mammoths. That's good. We need those. you know, we could work on like not letting polar bears go extinct, but let's bring back woolly mammoths instead.
Well, now that they can do that, they have polar bear DNA. They can just recreate.
Well, fuck it. We let the ones that we have. If they go away, we'll just make new ones. That's the world we live in now. That's a weird place to be, but it's pretty interesting. You got any other tech stuff?
No, I was gonna move on to toys.
All right, in a transitional place from tech to toys, we're going to talk about video games. Just a few releases of the year. These were all some cool games that I liked back then. Assassin's Creed 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and Uncharted 2 were all among some sequels that were pretty awesome games across the board, I think.
I played Uncharted 2.
Uncharted 2 was sick.
and for in preparation for this.
Oh, you did? That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, it
How
was
was
cool.
it?
It
Going
was
back.
super cool. I played the first one too, or at least part of it, so I can like get a sense. The second one is leaps and bounds better than the first one. It's so cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Leaps and bounds, huh?
Well, it's I don't know when what the first one came out for, but it seemed like it was so much better. It was like the first one came out for PlayStation 1 and the second one came out for PlayStation 2.
They were both PS3. But
But well, I'm saying like
yeah, like that.
that's like the
Yeah.
difference of them. Like
Like the
the
graphics and stuff.
graphics, the way the gameplay was, the movement, like I said, everything was leaps and bounds better. It was so cool. And the first one was really cool too. Not
Yeah,
to
the
like,
first one was like an early game for PlayStation 3. And I remember it being like kind of touted as being like, this is what this machine can do. And then when the second one came out, they had been, developed so much more capabilities of what they could do that I remember thinking it wasn't that much different than the first one. But then, yeah, the first one's pretty sparse looking in the environments and stuff compared to the second
yeah.
one.
Mm-hmm.
The second one's really sick. Also, this is another one of my favorite games ever from this year is Batman Arkham Asylum. Love that game.
Great game.
Really, really awesome. The first one. The other ones are good too, but my favorite is the first one. I love the environment. I love all like the Riddler stuff. They just did such a perfect job of capturing Batman. Like that's like one of my favorite, depictions of Batman outside of comic books.
Yes, they did a great job, and all the gameplay and the fighting and all that stuff are super cool in those games.
Yeah, really cool combos that you have to string together and stuff. Really fun games. Last two games I'll say real fast here that I played a good amount were Beatles Rock Band. That's pretty fun. Just
very cool.
Rock Band, but all Beatles songs. And then Plants vs. Zombies, the first one came out in 2009.
Great game.
Yeah, those games have lasted for forever. I downloaded it a few months ago and started playing again because it's just every once in a while I'll be like, oh yeah, Plants vs. Zombies, and I'll start playing it. But
yeah, why not?
Yeah,
a couple of other games that came out on computer that were pretty legendary. One of them is League of Legends.
Okay.
Everybody played that game.
Yeah, I never played it, but I remember that being a huge thing.
Yeah, I mean, I tried. I just never played games on computers or PCs. So like,
yeah, it never felt natural.
The switch over for me was not comfortable, so I just never really got into it.
Yeah.
Another game that came out on PC was Minecraft released.
Oh yeah, it released like in beta.
May 17th. Yeah, it's beta version, but when it was still in its development stages. But I mean,
it's coming around
in its development stages.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, lots of big games.
Yeah, that was all my quote unquote toy stuff that I wrote down.
Okay.
Games.
Well, I'm just gonna say this toy that came out in the year 2009 that I remember being a big deal, and then looking into them, I was like, why was this so important back then? Do you remember Zuzu Pets or Juju Pets? I don't know how you pronounce ZHU. Juju Pets, and they're like little hamsters, basically. Little like robotic hamsters that ran around. Yeah, I don't know why everyone had to have these things, but Zuzu Pets or Juju Pets. I keep saying Zuzu Pets, but that sounds right. But it's like, oh, how did I not remember these? Because my dog's name is Zuzu. I have a pet named Zuzu, and I didn't remember these.
It's Yuzu.
No, it's ZHU.
Oh,
Zuzu or Shushu.
Who knows? Sure,
yeah, I don't know. But they were popular things. All right, to get into the sports segment here, I got a little news story up top. I mentioned it at the start of the show to open up, but on November 25th, the National Enquirer ran a story detailing how Tiger Woods was having an affair outside of his marriage. And this story that they ran just had a huge snowball effect. 2 days later, he was involved in a crash in his car near his house in Florida. And he ran into a fire hydrant, trees, and bushes, and he was treated for minor injuries and received a ticket for careless driving. Then he announced shortly after that he wouldn't be appearing in any tournaments for the rest of the year because of his injuries. But then during that time, because of the crash, people were like kind of wondering where he was coming from and if it had anything to do with this story that the Enquirer had run. And basically it just unraveled and it came out that he was having an affair, like with the woman that the Inquirer had talked about was true. And then like more than a dozen other women came out and said that they also were having affairs with Tiger Woods. So
Damn.
this just exploded, and by like the end of the year, half of his sponsors dropped him, and this just
I
totally
remember this. This is crazy.
altered the course of his life. Yeah, but so I was saying tigers were mating with cougars at an alarming rate. That's what I was saying at the beginning. But yeah, this was a big, huge news story, man. This was all over the place. Everyone was talking about Tiger Woods because he just couldn't keep it in his pants. Apparently,
Yeah.
that was his thing. He was a sex addict. It was like how it came out after his, not defense, but his explanation of everything later.
That's crazy, man. I mean, you're like a rock star, I guess, but
Dorkiest rock star of all time.
yeah, you would think like a golfer would. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. These celebrities, they're scandalous. A lot
Yeah,
of them.
it was a very big deal, though. It's just funny that this was like this huge scandal. The like you said, the rock star story of the year. This big, this dude's cheating on his wife with dozens of women and all this shit. It's Tiger Woods, like the guy you least expect. He was also like seen as a role model for kids. He was really young when he got involved in this sport, and he was cool. He was like the first like popular black golfer, and so he was just this guy that like got so many people into the sport of golf. Like, who else can you name that's a professional golfer, especially from his era? You know what I mean? Like, he got people to know about golf, and then this was kind of a big. That's why it was so hugely shocking. I mean, I was gonna say it's interesting how often it's those people. Like, it's the one we talked about before. How he's one of those names that like he's the only golfer you know about. Like, Lance Armstrong is the only cyclist you know about before the scandal happened. So it's always the guys who are on the ones who are the forefront of their sport who also have the scandal.
Maybe there's a reason they're there.
That's what I was
Tiger
thinking.
was like 14 when he was getting in the game.
Yeah,
he was bound to be corrupted. Hey, they say that messes you up when you're a youngster, getting all that fame and glory.
Yeah, I can see it.
Green jackets.
Those green jackets corrupt.
Messes you up, man. All right, well, speaking of green jackets, let's move on to some champions, shall we?
Let's run us through the champs.
All right, the World Series champions was the New York Yankees. The Super Bowl champions were the Pittsburgh Steelers. The NBA champions were the Los Angeles Lakers. Oh, there they are. Boom.
Right on my hat. On the strength of Kobe Bryant's MVP finals performance.
Yeah, this is like height of him.
Back to back this year and next, but yeah, some Kobe Bryant action going on. The Penguins, that's got to be one of my favorite team names of any sport. That's such a dope name.
I've heard people call them, like, talking shit, the Ice Chickens.
That's kind of funny. That's a good way to talk shit.
I can never get that out of my head. That's how I think of them all the time now.
That makes sense. But I just think, man, that's a really cool, like, they're, on the ice. I like that. The Penguins, I'll take it. Even with the Ice Chicken, it's good to have a name that you can make fun of too, That's sure. And it's pretty tame as far as like ways to make fun of a team, Ice Chickens.
Yeah.
You can say that about any bird based, the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, the Seattle Sea Chickens, the Seattle Chicken Hawks. But the Penguin, that's a good. Pittsburgh has some good team names. The Pittsburgh Pirates and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Alliterative.
That's
Pirates.
True.
Pirates is a sick name in general. Awesome jerseys. Pittsburgh, man, that's a good team. Real American team too. Steel industry. Off of the sports and onto the television. Let's talk about what was on TV in the year 2009. The top-rated television programs in the United States. It's a pretty cut and dry thing here. We got American Idol taking the top slot with Dancing with the Stars coming in at number 2/number 3. American Idol on different days. In the first half of the year is number 1 and number 2. Dancing with the Stars 3. Second half of the year, American Idol, Dancing with the Stars, American Idol.
Damn. Every time we are around this little era of television, it's always American Idol.
Yeah, a lot of reality TV.
Simon Cowell killing it.
Yeah, well, let's talk quickly about some more reality TV programming that debuted in the year 2009. You had Shark Tank. It's a big show people like a lot. Dr. Oz also came out for the first time in 2009 with his own TV show. He started on Oprah, was kind of one of her correspondents, but this is where his talk show started. You also had Toddlers and Tiaras. It was a weird show, huh?
Yeah.
Not a
I
fan
think
of that one.
pageants, I think kids' beauty pageants are weird anyway.
Me too. They're a little strange to me. Also, 16 and Pregnant, keeping on the theme of weird shows. In conjunction with Teen Mom and 16 and Pregnant both came out this year. Teen Mom kind of followed some of the girls from 16 and Pregnant in the aftermath of that show. What was bound to happen. You go from being 16 and pregnant, you're going to wind up being a teen mom. It's inevitable. Also on MTV, you had Jersey Shore, which that's one that I hated so much when it came out. Just seeing all the stuff about it was like, oh, Jersey Shore. Now I love it. I've seen all of the whole show. I watched like the reunions and stuff like that. I just come to love it as I got older. I don't know why. I like the trashiness of it.
I think I hated it more so because everybody was like emulating those people. Everyone we went to high school with was like dressing that way and like and just acting like those people. So I think that was what pissed me off the most about it.
That's a good point. I see them as something that's funny. Their behavior is silly and it's fun to laugh at, not emulate and think is cool and want to be like, which is definitely the line that's drawn there. Fantasy Factory also came out this year, as well as Tosh.0. So you had Rob Dyrdek getting on his Fantasy Factory show, and then he saw Tosh.0 doing well. And he said, "Hey, I got an idea."
Yeah. I know exactly what I'm going to do.
I just got a great idea for a TV show. You also had RuPaul's Drag Race and American Ninja Warrior, which is a sick ass show. I love Ninja Warrior. Pawn Stars, which I've never watched. You got Chopped, Cupcake Wars, and Cake Boss for food stuff. And last one here I'll say is Deadliest Warrior. Do you remember that one? It was on, I think, Spike TV, and they'd be like, what would happen if a samurai met up with like a a medieval knight?
I just watched that show.
That was a cool show. And then they would just
was cool.
Like figure out how strong their armor was and their weapons and then pit them together in some battle. It was a cool one.
Yeah,
shows like that were kind of popular.
Styles and techniques and
yeah, I like that. That was cool. Some non-reality TV. Glee, which I remember being hugely popular. I watched some of it. Didn't really love it. Modern Family. Did you ever watch Modern Family?
Yeah. Well, not at the time. I watched it. I've watched it since. But
yeah, I didn't watch it at the time either, but I got into it years later and watched the whole thing. I fucking love it.
Yeah, I pretty much watched the whole thing. It was great.
I rewatched one of the first season episodes this week to prepare. You also got Parks and Rec and Community, which were very well liked shows that I never got into.
Parks and Rec I liked a lot.
Yeah.
But that's also one I didn't get it until later.
My family really loves Parks and Rec, and it's just like The Office. I mean, I get why people like it. I guess it just doesn't appeal to me. And it's very similar in feel to The Office too, and I have the same reaction to both of them. So yeah, The Middle, Cougar Town, Better Off Ted, United States of Terra, Party Down I liked. Eastbound and Down, that show's awesome with Danny McBride.
I've watched like some of it. I've never sat down and watched a bunch of it.
I like all of his shows that he like Vice Principals and Righteous Gemstones. Eastbound and Down's pretty good too.
I've seen those.
The other two?
Yeah.
I actually do like the other two more than Eastbound and Down, but it's still good. I think that he kind of finds his groove a little bit more in the other two shows a little bit, you know. You also had The League, which I liked a lot, about the fantasy football league. And then a show that was pretty cool on Comedy Central that was called Secret Girlfriend. I don't know if you ever saw that, but I liked that. And it was like a first person show. It was like POV, and you were the main character, and like you were going through life, and like you had a girlfriend, and then you broke up with her, and then you start dating this other girl. And it was just an interesting idea for a show. It wasn't great, but it was just cool. I thought it was neat at the time. And then last thing I'll say here are a couple of adult cartoons. You had Cleveland Show. It's all right. Glenn Martin DDS was like a claymation show about a dentist that I liked at the time. And then today I rewatched the first episode of Archer.
I love Archer.
Archer is great.
Especially the first season.
Yeah.
That style of humor and everything
The
was
first couple were pretty. I only watched like the first 4 or 5 seasons, and then I was looking at it today. I was like, "Fuck, man, they've had 14 seasons. I had no idea it kept going for that long."
yeah. I don't think I've watched a lot of those older seasons, but
They have a lot of seasons where they do something different with it, where it'll be like, "Oh, now there's some like kind of
yeah.
Casablanca style noir thing and things like that."
Mm-hmm.
But
They
I
did
haven't
like
seen
a
any of
space
that.
one too, and yeah.
That's cool though. I didn't even really realize they did that. I just saw that when I was going through the episodes to see like what happened in the later seasons, and I was like, "Oh shit! It turns into like an anthology series. That's kind of neat."
I got a news story for TV. On June 12th, the last broadcast of an analog NTCS, which is the National Television Systems Committee, switched from analog to digital. So before this, everybody had these cables that would be going into each room. And if you wanted to get TV, that's how you would get it, through cable. Well, they switched over to having no more analog systems in production anymore.
I've seen the video of like the last broadcast, like when it ends
Yeah,
of
they
those
like tell
kids.
you, they like announce it and it shuts off, and the kids are like,
Yeah,
"Whoa!" You know,
yeah,
yelling about it.
yeah. Interesting. I mean, the end of a whole generation of TV. Like I mean, it's interesting because TV hasn't been around for forever. It kind of feels like it has, but it was just this way for the first chunk of its lifetime, and it's not that way anymore. That's in the past.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I mean, but I remember like sometimes you move into old houses and they still have cables in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
walls and the rooms and stuff. You
Well,
know?
do you remember how much that was a thing for our lives when you move or you like are rearranging your room or whatever? And you're like, well, the TV has to go here because your
Yeah.
TV could only be in one spot because it had to be in front of the thing with the cable.
Yep.
Like, because you can't put your TV any part of the room that you wanted to back then. Like, you couldn't mount them on the walls. Like, none of that was a thing because you just had to have it be in front of the little jack box or whatever you call it.
Yep. That's true.
All right, you ready to jack on over to the music?
Yep.
Okay, we are going to talk about the Billboard top 5 songs for the year-end charts. These were the top 5 performing songs of the year in the year 2009. We have all of these songs as well as the rest of the top 10. We've got about 50 songs off the top 100 and then just a bunch of other random stuff that came out that year on a playlist on Spotify. If you want to check it out, the link is in our bio. But we are going to first start off with number 5.
Was Love Story by Taylor Swift, released on September 15th, 2008, on her second studio album. This song debuted at number 16 on the Billboard charts, and it peaked at number 4 in January of 2009.
This was the first country song actually to hit number 1 on the pop charts. So this was like the biggest crossover hit at the time. It's also Taylor Swift's most successful single to date. So this is her biggest song in terms of sales.
Tracks.
Yeah, I think so too. Which is interesting to see. Because she became so much bigger of a thing and more, important of an artist, it felt like, but her success never measured her kind of debut. Not her debut, but her like big break, as it were. This was inspired by a boy that she never dated, but she brought home to meet her family, and they all hated him. And so she kind of like decided to write this song based on that, and then obviously brought in like the kind of allusions to both Romeo and Juliet and then kind of the Scarlet Letter. She just kind of says that. It doesn't really fit in with the rest of the song, but she says Scarlet Letter. Yeah. And she had said that she thought Romeo and Juliet would be the best love story ever told if not for the tragic ending. So it's like the point of the play that makes it what it is the thing she doesn't like about it. Like, it would be better if they were as happy at the end. You're like, yeah, I guess, but then it's not really a story.
And then it would be like every other story.
Yeah, that is not worth. Then it's not a story worth telling. Yeah, two people just fell in love, and that was it. And they were happy about it. Like, that's how the stories normally go. Okay, you missed the point. I think a little bit of the thing there, Taylor. She wrote the song though in about 20 minutes. She says, like the lyrics of it. Critics at the time praised the production of the song and the overall songwriting, but they kind of more or less forgave it for its lyrics. Most of the reviews mentioned like you can get past the bland lyrics because the song is so nice and fun to listen to, and like the general theme of it's so lovely. But they all kind of said it's a little rudimentary, but other than that, it's a good song. one review in particular I highlighted here is Alexis Petridis of The Guardian said, if the references to Shakespeare and Hawthorne seem clumsy, they are clumsy in a believably teenage way. So that's, I think, what people liked about it. It's like this is an actual teenage girl singing actual teenage stuff, and hey, why not? You know, it's better to have that than have it be her singing about stuff she doesn't know about that was written by somebody older than her or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
This was actually the first re-recorded song that she released as Taylor's version. You remember when all that started going on? That she was releasing all of her music as Love Story, Taylor's version, in response to a copyright dispute that she had with her old label, Big Machine, over the rights to her first 6 albums that she had done while she was with them. So, in order to get her rights back, she re-released everything as her own version. Smart thing to do. Oh, also this year at the CMT Music Awards, there was a video of her and T-Pain singing a song called Thug Story, where she kind of raps over the beat. It was
it cool?
It was okay. It was like half fun, half kind of like, all right, a little cringy, but it was okay. You know, I didn't hate it. All right. Number 4 on the list is I Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas. This came out June 15th of 2009. Spent 14 weeks at the top of the charts. It's the longest running number 1 hit of the year for 2009. So it's kind of crazy that it's all the way down to number 4, huh? To be the longest running number 1. 14 weeks is a long fucking time too. That's like pretty up there in terms of like the records, because we've talked about in the past 14 would have like demolished the record.
Yeah. And it's number 4. Weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Debuted at number 2 behind Boom Boom Pow. And I got a feeling we'll talk about that later. They are one of 11 artists who have occupied the top 2 slots at the same time. So pretty rarefied air that the Black Eyed Peas are a part of there. This is number 5 for the decade end list of top hits. So the 5th best performing song for the 2000 to 2009 decade. And it's number 8 of the all-time best performing songs. It also went number 1 in over 20 different countries. It won a Grammy for best pop performance by a duo or group with vocals. And it was the first song to ever sell over 7 million digital copies in the US. So just like extremely well-performing song, I Got a Feeling. As of 2019, it was the most downloaded song on iTunes ever. So just extremely popular. I'm kind of shocked by all of this stuff that it still is number 4, not higher up.
Yeah, I mean, the other ones must have just killed it, I guess.
I guess so. Also did really well in Canada. It spent 16 weeks atop their charts, which set a record, and 76 weeks total on the Canadian charts, which is also a record. So just a fucking record-shattering song, I Got a Feeling, or just, you know, wild sales on this song. And what do you think of it, though? How do you feel about the Black Eyed Peas? I always want to say the Black Keys, but I have to catch myself.
I mean, when these songs came out, they were just like iconic for all the dances and stuff we'd go to, and they were just there for like club vibes. So I read that a Black Eyed Peas member described this song as a college anthem for people looking forward to escape life's pressure by going out and having a ball. And I just think that kind of, I feel like all of this stuff, except the Taylor Swift song, I guess, but most of these top 5 are just for going out and partying. And to be honest, most of the music that was coming out this year seemed like it was pushed towards that.
Yeah, and around this time too, like 2010 and stuff, we talk about Kesha and things, you know. So this era was just a lot of party vibes were huge.
This was sampled from "Love Is Gone" by David Guetta. It's like a house song.
Mm-hmm.
Super sick, actually.
Oh, I didn't listen to it.
The beginning, the dun 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 dun, dun it's that part. But actually, I kind of like that song more than this.
Yeah, I liked, when I was a kid, I liked Ella Funk by the Black Eyed Peas, you know, the one that's got Let's Get It Started on there and all of those old songs. I had that CD when I was a kid. But then at this point, you know, we've talked about before, around this age, we were very, mainstream stuff is lame. So and the fact that they were so different and like, I mean, I'd outgrown them already by that point anyway, but I was just like, ugh, what is this? This song's okay. This song I think is better than the next one we're going to talk about from them on this chart, but uh, I wasn't a fan of it when it came out. It just felt a little radio friendly. They just wrote something that was not something I wanted to listen to necessarily. So, but everybody did. It did really well. They wrote a radio friendly song. They set out to do it, and I think they did do that intentionally. We'll talk about that too in a little bit. But
All right.
let's move on to number
Well,
3 first.
let's move on to number 3, Just Dance by Lady Gaga and Colby O'Donis. Released on April 8th, 2008, spent 5 months on the top 100.
Yeah, this song spent 3 weeks at the top at number 1 as well. After, like you said, 5 months on the charts. It's a slow burn on this one because this is her debut single from her debut album. So this is the first time anyone heard of Lady Gaga. So it took 5 months of bubbling up before she took over the world, but then she did.
Yes, for sure she did.
This was written by Lady Gaga along with Akon, who I didn't realize was a part of the song. And then also her producer, Red One, which was a big thing that I didn't know about this song, was the opening of it. She's not saying red wine. She's saying red one. She goes, red one.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm sure if people knew that, it wouldn't be as catchy.
I've always said red wine. I've thought that's what she's saying. Red wine,
Yeah, I thought that's what it was too.
Yeah, hilarious. I had no idea that that's what it was and then I read that, and then when I was like listening to it on Spotify later, I had the lyrics pulled up, and it says on there "Red One" right there. I was like, oh shit! I never had a reason to question it, so I wouldn't have ever thought to look at that. As far as Akon is concerned, he actually says that he was supposed to be the featured artist on the song, not Colby O'Donis, which is like a very funny name. It's like a fucking leprechaun name. I'm Colby O'Donis, and I'm here to say it's fun to sing with Lady Gaga today. But Akon was supposed to be on the song, but Universal Music Group blocked it from happening. They fully recorded the version with Akon on it and sent out that version to radios. But then UMG came in and blocked it from going to air. Like, there's always they have the rights to an artist that somebody else doesn't, blah blah blah. So whoever was involved in the record producers and stuff like that didn't want Akon on the track with Gaga, so he got replaced. They had to re-record it with Colby O'Donis. Colby O'Donis had to come in and save the day. And then also another little behind the scenes thing here. Kimberly Wyatt of the Pussycat Dolls contends that this song was written as a demo for them, but that they passed on it. So, and then Gaga decided to put the song out herself. She kind of wrote this, again, like you were just saying. This was her saying she was going through a lot of really hard times at this point in her life, that she had moved from New York, kind of given up everything to come out and try to make it in the music scene in LA. And as she was really just feeling her lowest, it was like, just dance. Everything's going to be okay. Bada beep, bop, babe, just dance. So this was like her, like a party song. It's supposed to make you feel good. Everyone who hears this should just feel good. I always so impressed by somebody whose debut single comes out and puts them in this list. When we talk about somebody in the top 5 like this and it's their first track that people hear from them, that's crazy,
Yeah, well, she would go on to do other things too.
Yeah, for instance, coming in at number 2, we have Poker Face by Lady Gaga. This came out September 23rd of 2008. This spent a week at the top of the charts, and this was her second single. So right after she just did Just Dance, her very second thing came out, did even better than the first one. Good for her. Also written by Gaga and Red One. Red Wine is how he should be. He should change his name to Red Wine. This one topped the charts in 20 different countries. It was the best-selling single worldwide of the year 2009, with nearly 10 million records sold. So in the US, it came in at number 2, but across the world, this was the bestseller. Man, can you imagine that? Your first record, and you're just the best-selling artist in the entire world?
Just killing it.
That's so cool. How do you feel about Lady Gaga?
I don't really have harsh feelings either way. I don't love or hate her. Just kind of music that I really don't resonate with, but a lot of people really like.
Yeah, when she came out, I didn't really like her. I thought her whole shtick was kind of goofy. You dressing in the crazy dresses, like the meat dresses. I think also if you're not
Meat dresses.
well, if you're younger, you don't remember those things. Remember she had a dress that just
Yeah,
had
I remember
raw
that.
meat all
Yeah,
over it, or one that was made of
yeah,
Kermit the Frogs, and she just did wacky stuff. And I just thought, oh, this is what it's all spectacle, whatever. And then now that I'm older and I listen back to the music, at the time was not what I was interested in. I liked rock and roll and shit like that. And now that I like more dance music and stuff and just pop and things like that, I actually like her music a lot more. I really wanted to go back and listen to her whole album. I didn't get around to doing it. So I still need to do that. I need to get into her music. I need to actually listen to her as an artist outside of the big hit singles because she's impressive. I mean, this was good music to have written yourself.
yeah. No, I've never listened to anything except the few that are super popular by her. To be honest, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I hear that. I don't have big feelings either way. To be honest,
No, gotta check her out.
something I've read was funny was that she said that when she first came out with this song, people asked her what it was about, and she said it was about Texas Hold'em. Like she was got inspiration when she was playing poker. And then later, many years later, she was at a concert in Palm Springs and she said on stage that it was because she was bisexual and she would put on a poker face for men
Mm-hmm.
when she was really thinking about women. And I was like, I feel like I don't know how much that was her playing to a crowd because I feel like this song is just about whenever you have to put on a poker face. People like put on masks when they go out in public, proverbial masks people put on.
But she also says her muffin is bluffing at one
Oh
point.
yeah, that's true too.
So she does talk about her
The
because she
sexual
says at one
needs.
point, yeah, because she kind of was cagey about it when they asked her initially, "What's the song about?" And she said that she wanted to write a song for like her rock and roll boyfriends, and that she wanted there to be a song that that type of guy would listen to. That was sort of had a little bit of a rock bent to it. It wasn't just straight up dance. And then it was about things that guys were into, like gambling. She knew a lot of men who were into gambling and she liked gambling, so she went that route. But it doesn't really explain what poker face means in that context. All you're saying is that it's about those things or whatever. And then when asked about the muffin line, she said I'm talking about my pussy's poker face. Like she said that specifically. And then years later, she said it was about the bisexuality thing. So I mean, I could see it. I could see it being a thing too. That in 2009, it wasn't necessarily the type of world that you come out and just immediately, especially your first single. That
That's
like,
true.
she would later go on to be the Born This Way and be like a champion for gay people and things. So I wonder if, like you said, she could be retroactively assigning meaning to it that means something to her fans that she knows that would resonate with them, or if it was that was how she was and just felt like she couldn't be herself yet.
Yeah. Oh, art. Interpret it however you want.
But it was a hit either way. Fucking
Nonetheless. All right.
smash
Another
hit
hit that happened, I would argue, is more of a smash hit, is number
in
one.
the U.S. at least. Yes.
In the US at least, yes. Boom Boom Pow by the Black Eyed Peas. I almost said the Black Eyed Keys too. Released on March 13th, 2009, this song rocketed from 39 to number one on its fourth week on the chart. And it stayed there for 12 weeks. So not as long as their
I
other
got a
ones.
feeling, but yeah, pretty
Yeah.
long, but yeah, not quite as long. It must have stayed
This
just in the top 100 longer, I guess.
The song featured a vocal sample from a 1990s song Reach Out by British house duo Sweet Mercy featuring singer Rowita. And it was first released in Australia. So there actually is the second time they would sample house music
Yeah,
and use it in a dance song. So
go in a
they're
different direction.
yeah, for sure. Definitely moving away from what we think of as dance music, I guess, in 2009.
Yeah, they actually, I guess Will I Am was influenced by the dance music that he heard while he was shooting X-Men Origins in Sydney, Australia.
I didn't know he was in it. Who is he in that?
I can't remember the character he plays, but yeah, he's in it briefly. He like gets him in touch with Blob. He's wearing like a cowboy hat. I feel like in the movie. I don't remember. I haven't seen it in so long.
Oh yeah. He's in Vegas, and he's like in. Anyway, yeah, I didn't know he was in that.
Yeah, so that's how he got the inspiration, I guess, hearing the music that was playing in the clubs while he was there filming. Along with I Got a Feeling, they held the top spot combined for 26 weeks straight. Because it was this one, this was actually their first ever chart topper. So they got this one for 12 weeks, then I Got a Feeling held it for 14 weeks. The two combined was 26 weeks total, which is the longest for any duo or group. Then but this one was performed better in the US for this year, I guess. But for the decade end charts, this one finished at number 7, which I Got a Feeling was number 5. And I Got a Feeling finished at number 8 all time. Well, this is number 51 of all time. So a huge drop off between those two numbers. So yeah, I Got a Feeling overall performed a lot better than this one. This did win a Grammy for Best Short Form Music Video. And I mentioned earlier about how I wrote I Got a Feeling for the radio, and that's sort of the feeling I got from it. Well, will.i.am had said that this was written for the clubs. This song was written for the clubs and not for the radio specifically. Boom, boom, pow. He said, like, in talking about a song like Big Girls Don't Cry, you know, the Fergie song that they had done.
Mm-hmm.
He said, there's no such thing as a radio song. That doesn't exist anymore. Radio is what the people want, and Boom Boom Pow is proof that if something's dope, regardless of if it has that sprinkled radio vibe, that it should be played on the radio and that people are going to like it. So this song is it's a really weird song. It really, like the way it's set up and stuff, like the Boom Boom Pow part you remember pretty easily, but the song is like a very strange structure to it, you know? It is a weird one to have been. I'm shocked that it was number 1. I could have seen I Got a Feeling. That's a more normal song. This one's just a bunch of like little sections kind of pieced together in a strange way.
Yeah. How do you feel about this song?
I like it less than I Got a Feeling, I think. It's, like I said, it's weird. It's funny, even the imagery and stuff that they're evoking, because this is them, you know, evolving up into a new phase of the band. You know, they're not just a normal band anymore. Now they're futuristic seeming, and like they talk a lot about, like, you know, obviously I'm so 3008, you're so 2000 and late, like, you know, it's all supposed to be futuristic and stuff, but it comes across as being very dated even in the time that it came out, you know?
Yeah.
And just a weird, I just think it's very strange that this was number 1. Just listening to it as a song, to think this, you would think that this was so groundbreaking in its production or something like that, and that's why it sounds like nothing we've ever heard before. But it sounds a lot like Planet Rock and stuff from the 80s. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of got a throwback vibe and things. So I'm confused by this one in general, I would say, being number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really surprised. I gotta say, I don't think this band like held over well.
No.
You play this song now and people are like, what is this? What's happening? Like, when I would play it at the bar I worked at, like, why is this song?
That's funny.
Yeah, it's weird. It did not hold the test of time.
Yeah, it's a weird thing that we were all into at the moment, I guess, though. Well, let's look at the rest of the music, shall we?
Cool. Let's do it.
So you got some All American Rejects. I liked them.
Oh yeah, they were super popular at the time.
Actually, at the time, I didn't like them. They're a band that I've kind of come to like as I've gotten older, but I didn't really dig their sound a lot back then.
I liked them back then. Justin Timberlake, a lot of dance music.
Yeah.
Pitbull, Jamie Foxx and T-Pain, Soulja Boy, Drake. I don't know, just like everything on these top songs are all Jay-Z and Rihanna and Kanye West.
How about coming in at number 35 on our Spotify list? I don't remember where it finished in the top 100, but Fireflies by Owl City. You remember that one? Man, that was that song was really. You would not believe your eyes if 10 million fireflies. That song was really popular. Outside of the top,
She-Wolf by Shakira.
That's one I have on my Halloween playlist every year. She's fun. I like Shakira.
Disturbia by Rihanna. There's like there's a lot more country on here. I forgot about that.
Yeah, country was still big back then.
Mm-hmm.
It's always funny how it kind of stays in the same sort of spot on the chart too. I Love College. That song was a fucking banger. Everyone loved back then. Asher Roth, he fell off huge.
LMFAO shots.
I was surprised that that didn't hit the top 100 for the end of the year. That and Dog
Yeah.
Days Are Over were both two that really, like, I know I'm usually pretty, oh, I can't believe this didn't make it, but those two I would have sworn were top 100 songs for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Little Lion
And
Man, that's one that, like, I was in, well, actually, I remember Little Lion Man being popular when I was in college in 2010, but I knew everybody, all the college age kids liked that one, but I guess that was the next year, so it sort of was a sleeper song.
Mumford and Sons, I think, had their heyday around this time, maybe a little afterwards too.
Yeah. I'm on a Boat by The Lonely Island. This was when The Lonely Island's album Incredibad came out. So that has all the old classics. Like this was Lonely Island was so big at this time and a couple years before. Like because this was their music videos have been coming out for a few years, but the album dropped in 2009 and it has I'm on a Boat and Jizz in My Pants and Lazy Sunday, Like a Boss, Dick in a Box. All of those great songs. I loved The Lonely Island back then.
It's so good. I Dreamed a Dream
That was the last
by
one I want to talk
Suzanne
about.
Boyle.
Susan Boyle, man.
Or Susan Boyle. It's funny because I heard it and I had done research for this stuff, but I didn't listen to the song. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this lady, like being on Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah,
And
the
then
X
I
Factor
heard it
or
and I
whatever.
was
Yeah.
like, what is happening right now? Because I was just like passively listening to the music. And I
Uh,
looked at it and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this. She finished second in Britain's Got Talent, but then Simon Cowell signed her on to his record company.
yeah, and her album was the best-selling album of the year.
Yeah.
And man, it was so crazy how we as a culture just fucking jumped all over this woman for not being attractive. Everyone was like, "What the fuck? Get out of here, you old hag! What do you think you're doing? How dare you sing in front of us?" And then she sang well, and everyone, "Oh my god, we were wrong." Made her the most successful singer of the year.
Yeah, I hope she's like just chilling, retired in some dope house somewhere because of it.
Oh God, I hope not. She looks. Have you seen her? She doesn't
Yeah,
deserve success. Oh, Mark, what are you talking about? She looks different than you would expect. Ugh. Wild.
yeah, we
thing
do a
that-
podcast. People don't watch it. You can come on, Susan, and talk to us about it.
Come on, defend yourself.
No one's gonna judge you here.
But yeah, it was just funny that we were so mean back then as a culture.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, well, Susan Boyle at the top, selling album of the year. We're going to talk now. We're going to talk about the number one movie of the year at the box office in the United States. And that movie for the year 2009 came out on June 24th. It is Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. This is the second film in the Transformers franchise, directed by Michael Bay, written by Aaron Kruger, Roberto Orci, and Alex Kurtzman. This stars Shia LaBeouf, Megan Fox, Josh Duhamel, Tyrese Gibson, and John Turturro. Had a $200 million budget, grossed $402 million in the year 2009. And the synopsis for this here is coming from ParamountMovies.com. The way they describe the movie is: the battle for Earth continues in this action-packed blockbuster from director Michael Bay and executive producer Steven Spielberg, when college-bound Sam Witwicky learns the truth about the ancient origins of the Transformers. He must accept his destiny and join Optimus Prime and Bumblebee in their epic battle against the Decepticons, who have returned stronger than ever with a plan to destroy our world. So, Sam's got to fight the Decepticons, essentially, is what the plot of this movie is.
The plot of the last movie as well, I think.
Very similar to the last one, I think, in most regards. How do you feel about the Transformers films in general, and then this one?
First one, I really liked it.
Okay.
The films in general, they're kind of like the music. They're just there for entertainment and not for anything else. They're there for like the bombs exploding and giant robots flipping around and doing stuff and shooting guns, and it's like all there for the cinematics and not really there for the artistic format of it all. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't a good storyline. Like even the whole plot of it is like, oh well, he touched this all spark little piece, and it's like, okay, but in the last movie he was running through the streets within his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not a fan of the plot or anything else. Even like, I don't know, you watch these movies for the action and for all of the Transformer stuff, And a lot of it was like his parents being silly and like
Yeah.
eating pot brownies.
Right.
So I don't know. Not a fan, to say the least.
Yeah, I agree overall. I think I didn't. The first one's okay. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't. It's not a movie I like too much. But they just, yeah, they get worse as they go along, and just sort of lean into the aspects of the movies that I don't particularly like. I think the same thing. This is just made as a way to showcase special effects. There's not really any kind of artistry in it. However, Michael Bay would probably disagree with us because he described the tone of the movie as Ben-Hur meets Apocalypse Now. Like,
What the
oh,
hell?
go fuck yourself, Michael Bay. You
Yeah.
don't. So you have no self-awareness.
Respectively, go fuck yourself.
you have no self-awareness when it comes to these movies. It's like if he had just said, "I make movies because I enjoy the artistry of special effects." If you want to compare the fact that these movies, those two movies you mentioned, have lofty special effects to them, I guess, but even that, like, you're not doing what those did. That all was practical, and there was a reason for those to be as lauded and revered as they were.
Well, those movies relied on their artistic abilities and not just like half naked chicks 90% of the movie.
That's
the
the other
whole
point, yeah.
Yeah, like it's not. This was like so you can be stimulated looking at it through your eyeballs and nothing more.
Yeah, totally. Megan Fox said that cameras were set up in front of and behind her at all times. So, like, they had shots of her from the back as well as from the front, just doing whatever she was doing. So that way they could make sure they cut to her ass if they wanted to at any point. And like at one point, she's like, "I don't even have any lines in this scene. I'm not doing anything." And he's filming my ass and stuff like that. So she had, I remember she had some words against Michael Bay, and it kind of tarnished her career a little bit. People kind of were like, "Shut the fuck up and don't bite the hand that feeds you,"
Shut up and be hot.
Yeah, people were pretty upset with her for not liking the fact that she was treated like a piece of meat. She had lost some weight prior to filming between the two films. So Michael Bay prescribed her a quote unquote cake diet. And she gained 10 pounds within 3 weeks on whatever Michael Bay told her to eat, because he needed her to have some more thickness on her. That's what he wanted.
Damn.
Yeah, really weird, really nasty set for Megan Fox. No wonder she wasn't too thrilled with her time on these movie sets, I guess, huh?
Right? Yeah, I don't. I gotta say, this is probably one of the worst ones we've done.
Yeah, I agree. The script for this movie was written in 3 weeks due to the writer's strike that was going on at the time. Like, they knew that the writer's strike was about to happen, so they're like, write the script right now. So they had 3 weeks to get this thing actually written. So couldn't have been that good.
I guess it gives it a little more, like, I don't know, a little more sympathy, but still.
You don't have to make a Transformers movie. There's that too,
Nope.
You don't. There's no need for this to occur.
But this also to be the number one movie, it's just because everybody wanted to go see it in the hypes of the last one.
Yeah, right. Oh, to talk about, like you said, with the whole, he touches the Allspark in the first one, like the continuity between the two, like they just said, fuck it. Bumblebee, at the end of the first one, he gains the ability to talk. And like has some dialogue right at the end of the first one. But they liked it better that he just talked through the radio, so they just like decided to do that with this movie too. So they just had a tie-in comic book come out between the two that were like, and he lost his voice again between the two movies. Don't worry about it. But I don't think audiences even noticed. It wasn't like anybody was like, hey, what the fuck? It was in a comic book that nobody read, so people didn't care, obviously,
Yeah, I didn't notice until you just said that. After all of these years.
Yeah.
His friend was super fucking annoying. Can I just say that? Why was that guy even in the movie?
Yeah, I mean, most of the characters that they add to the story this time around are just annoying,
The
like
professor.
The new robots that they add, like the two
the
twins.
ass
Yeah,
and black
terrible.
twins.
Horrible, horrendous. John Turturro, I mean, I like John Turturro, but his character's annoying in this movie too.
Well, all the cussing is like,
it was very
it's off-putting to me, and I cuss, and I have I have a foul mouth, and it's still off-putting to me.
Yeah, it just felt weirdly crammed in there. Or like the joke where he's like, I'm underneath the enemy scrotum. And you're like, ew, what the fuck? The robot has balls and stuff? Like, That's what type of movie this is all of a sudden. So weird.
I don't know.
I do have a couple of sort of alternate casting things. There's not as many in a sequel because everybody's already a part of it. The role of Alice, Brie Larson auditioned for. So that's, she would go on to be famous years later. So that's somewhat neat. The only real, almost thing, though, that occurred was Beetlejuice was offered a role as an Egyptian guard. The little guy from Howard Stern show, you know who I'm talking about? Beetlejuice. You'll look up a
No.
picture of this guy. He was very popular back in the day. His part ended up going to Deep Roy, who's like the little person who was in he was in stuff all the time back then. He was in Eastbound and Down actually at the time, as well as like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and stuff like that. His character in this movie was initially going to go to Beetlejuice, but Beetlejuice met with Michael Bay, and the meeting went poorly, I guess, and Beetlejuice angrily turned the part down. So something in this meeting went so badly that he got mad and stormed out and didn't take the role.
Oh yeah.
You remember this guy?
Yeah, I didn't realize that. That's this guy's name.
Yeah, he was just like a weird, like I said, he was from Howard Stern, so he was like a weird pseudo celebrity for a while, and he was gonna be in the movie, but it didn't end up panning out. So that's the only real casting what if I have, is that Beetlejuice's part went to Deep Roy instead. Yeah, overall, not like you said. This probably is actually my least favorite time that we've had so far doing these movies. It wasn't terrible. It's not like it was, a real chore to watch. It just was like, fuck, I guess fine. I'll watch this. I wasn't compelled by anything that was going on. Kind of annoyed a lot of the time, more than anything. Also, I have seen this one. I remember seeing it in theaters, and I really kind of recalled while watching this the feeling of watching it in theaters and being like, I think movies are just like kind of bad now. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, that's sort of a foregone conclusion, and I feel that way about things. But I think this is sort of a turning point in my life where I was just like, popular movies kind of suck, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the first one, there's some you can forgive the first one. It still is spectacle and whatever, but it's better than this one. This time around, for this to be number one and for it to be as bad as it was, is just like, damn, bro. Like the American public is bad at choosing what movie to watch. Gone are the days of Ghostbusters and Blazing Saddles being number one.
Yeah, for sure.
Shall we rate it?
Out of 2009
Pop brownies.
Pop brownies. That's a good one.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a flat 1,000 pop brownies.
Dang, I'm gonna give it 999 pop brownies.
Always got to outdo me. Price is Right rules. You win. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. What else was in the theaters this year?
A lot of better things, I can say, than this movie came out this year.
First movie to come out this year was Bride Wars. Did you ever see that? Where was it? Kate Hudson and was it Anne Hathaway? Is that who was in it? Anyway, romantic comedy. So. There were a couple other romantic comedies that were pretty good. The Proposal, I liked that movie a lot back then, with Sandra Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
He's Just Not That Into You. That was a pretty big movie. And 500 Days of Summer was kind of an indie romantic comedy that I loved with Zooey Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like cool because it did some unique storytelling and different things with genre that I liked. In comedies, you have The Hangover. I mean, that was probably the biggest comedy of the year.
Yeah.
That one I remember I got it for my dad for Christmas. And then I hadn't seen it, but everyone was talking about it. I was like, I got to see this movie. So I looked at like every Redbox in town online to see if they had it and drove to them. That one was closed and this one didn't have it. And like I reserved it at one. By the time I got there, it was inside of like a CVS that had closed. So I couldn't get it. And I spent all night trying to find this movie. So eventually just by the end of the night, me and my friend just unwrapped my dad's present and watched it. And then I was like, I'm just going to wrap it back up and give it to him. And then my mom came downstairs while we were watching it. She's like, ew, I don't want you giving this movie to your dad. This is just keep it, I guess. Get him something else. So that's how I saw The Hangover for the first time. But I mean, it was just talked up, man. Like everybody could not stop talking about that movie. I had to see it so bad I unwrapped a Christmas present to watch it.
Zombieland, though.
Zombieland was really good.
Throw that one out there for sure.
Black Dynamite is one of my favorite comedies of the year. I love Black Dynamite. Oh, it's so good. I haven't watched the cartoon, but because like they made a show after,
I
but
think I did watch that though.
the movie is fantastic. I love that movie so much. I watched that this week to gear up. Some sci-fi movies. Star Trek, the first one of those. That was pretty. I actually liked that one a lot. You also had District 9, Moon, and The Road. I loved Moon. I didn't see The Road or District 9. I know people love District 9.
District 9 is great. Also, that movie 9 came out.
Oh yeah, that was good too. It's kind of sci-fi-ish
Mm-hmm.
or very sci-fi actually.
Yeah.
You had Sherlock Holmes, as well as X-Men Origins Wolverine, the aforementioned film, Watchmen, Fast and Furious, like the fifth movie or something like that, Terminator Salvation, it's like the fourth movie, I think. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, I rewatched that this week to gear up, as well as Twilight New Moon. We got that one here, a Twilight
Yeah.
shirt on. I've seen that one pretty recently. I rewatched all the Twilights not too long ago, so I count that as having seen it somewhat recently. Precious. Did you ever see that?
No, I never have.
I don't really have much desire to see it. It sounds gross.
No, yeah, I didn't. Not. Yeah, don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Well, there's some good kids movies that came out too. Monsters
Oh
versus
yeah.
Aliens, which is great. Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs,
Love that one.
which we saw that together. I'm pretty sure.
We saw the second one.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
And it was really funny. It was like this is not as good as the first one, but it was very fun to watch Stone.
Oh, Coraline came out this year.
Yeah, Coraline is
Yeah,
fantastic. I love that movie. I rewatched Up this week.
I watched that too.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that in a while. It's very funny. I like Up. It's a good one. So
Yeah, it's
sad
good.
too.
It is really sad.
Also, some traditionally animated films came out, which this is the last time Disney would ever really do that. Was Princess and the Frog. They didn't.
I
I
love
thought
that movie too.
it was the last time they did a full 2D animated film. And then Ponyo also came out. That's a Studio Ghibli one. I actually have not seen that one. It's one of the few I haven't seen by them.
I've never seen it. One that I did watch this week was the Imaginarium of Dr. Panassus.
Oh, I love that film.
Yeah, super good. Rest in
That's an
peace,
interesting one.
Heath Ledger.
Yeah, his last movie, and so like his character, like each time they go into the Imaginarium, which is like this crazy imagination world, every time they go in there, he's played by a different actor because he had died during the filming of it. So like he's played by Johnny Depp and Jude Law and Colin Farrell at different parts of the movie. It's really really
Mhm.
cool, really interesting film. I really love that. It's a trippy movie. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Also, a kind of an interesting trippy film was Where the Wild Things Are by Spike Jonze.
Oh yeah, I remember the book. I remember being excited the movie came out.
Yeah, I loved the book when I was a kid. Another kids' book movie was Fantastic Mr. Fox. That movie's sick. The stop motion
I had
movie
never
by
seen it. You know what's funny? Somebody just talked to me about that last week, and I didn't even put two and two together.
oh, it's so cool. I love that movie. That's really one of my favorites of the year, probably. And then horror films. You got the first Paranormal Activity that would reignite people's love of found footage and change the horror landscape for many years. The first one's pretty good. It's okay. I mean, it's not particularly scary, but if you think found footage is freaky, then it definitely is one of the scarier found footage movies. You also have Trick or Treat, which is a great Halloween anthology movie.
Yep.
House of the Devil is probably my top 5 favorite horror movies. It's
Really?
so
I've never
good.
seen that one.
Yeah, it's like an indie movie, and like a girl goes to babysit. Very throwbacky, it's like 70s, 80s horror movies. It's really, really good. Great soundtrack. Drag Me to Hell is really good, as well as Jennifer's Body and The Haunting in Connecticut. And then I watched A Christmas Carol for the first time with Jim
Jim
Carrey.
Carrey?
Yeah.
I watched that too with my daughter the other day.
It's better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like the same as Polar Express. It was better than that. I still didn't love it. I don't like that Robert Zemeckis 3D animated movies stuff that he was doing. I don't like Jim Carrey playing every character, but it was better than Polar Express.
Yeah, but at the time that was super popular. It was a cool
Yeah, it
movie.
was.
One that I want to mention was Inglorious Bastards.
Yes, great one.
My dad took me to see that movie, and I don't think he knew what it was. Like, I don't
Uh-huh.
think he knew. Like, I think he thought it was like a war movie, and he knew that I liked stuff like that, and like, he probably didn't know who Quentin Tarantino was, you know. And we both walked out of that movie like, that was not what we like. I not really what I expected, but I knew that wasn't not what he expected to see in that movie.
What did he think of it? Do you know?
He was just like surprised because like it wasn't because it's not obviously
Revisionist history.
historically
Yeah,
accurate. Yeah, he was just like surprised. I think more than anything, like
that's
kind of what
funny.
just happened, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a really good one. It's one of Tarantino's better movies, I think. And then, to wrap up the year, towards the end of the year, we've talked about it before, but just to mention that it came out this year, was Avatar. It went on to be the best performing movie of 2010, but it did come out in December of this year. So just mention it. Last thing I'll say, I just thought was funny while I was reading through names of movies, is that along with Up, you also had What Goes Up, Up in the Air, and Fired Up. So Up was a very common word in movies this year. Not always the case. You don't usually see that many ups in theater names.
Yeah, well, I feel like people do that though. I don't know, or maybe we just notice that they're the similarities, but I feel like that happens very often.
No, I think it's got to be a movie like, oh, it's called Up. Well, we can capitalize on a little bit. The market recognition of Up being a popular movie will bleed into our movie if we say Fired Up. That
Yeah.
word's fully in there. Their whole ass title of a very successful movie is in our movie title, so I'm sure it plays into it somewhat. Okie dokie. That's about it for the movies, which means it's time for us to wrap up the show. All we can do now is take a look over everything that happened in the year 2009 and choose but one thing to save. Mark and I both hold on. We grab one thing, we wrap it up nicely, put a bow on it, put it into our knapsack, and take it with us to the future. Everything else disappears. What will be saved? Are we going to still be able to eat Domino's lava crunch cakes? Are we going to have all of our Bitcoins available to us? Is Tiger Woods still going to be sleeping with all those ladies?
Oh, if I could save something, I'd probably save Michael Jackson, but
Yeah. Save his death?
yeah, save it so to prolong it a little bit longer. I am keeping or saving Assassin's Creed 2.
That's a good game.
When that game came out, I was all about it.
Yeah, I like the second one more than the first one. The first one was so sick, but it got a little repetitive. And the second one, they kind of ironed out everything that made the first one, everything the first one fell short in, the second one excelled at. So
Yes.
I thought that was pretty great. I'm going to say Black Dynamite. It's a super sick movie. Just rewatched it. It's still fucking hilarious to me. I don't think most people have seen that. So get out there and watch Black Dynamite. Can't watch Up with your kids. No more Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey. Obama, his presidency goes away, but well, I guess he'd still be elected. He just never got inaugurated.
It's weird.
Yeah.
We'll iron those details out in the future.
We'll figure it out. But until then, we're going to look back at the year 2009, and Mark and I both will be singing the same song within our hearts that we wish we were then.
Oh, I didn't.